Welcome to selfdiscoveryradio.com, where the orchard of wisdom is just ready for picking. We celebrate your why, the journey that you've taken that inspires someone else. We support your services, we support your story. Come and be our guest, become a host, be an author with us. Come and see what we've got. Our next show is... Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, everybody. Welcome back to another edition of Channeling Ascensions. I'm your host, Sara Troy, and my co-host is Christina Hill with her beautiful divine entity of Fella, who may come in and speak with us. We never know when. And our wonderful guest, Charles Eduardos, who I had on a couple of weeks ago, and we had a ball. We had a wonderful time. He's a very unique reverend. He's a divine reverend. He really has a beautiful connection with God, but he actually has a lovely word which really sums everything up. It's all this political correctness today. Do we refer to it as the universe, the spirit, God? He's just simply called it Gus, God, universe, spirit. So we're going to be talking a lot today about Gus. And so you can pick whichever one means something to you, but Gus means everything to me, and I absolutely love the terminology. Today is about faith. What is our faith? It's not about the religions or which religion is better than the other. It's how do we channel our faith? How do we step into it? How do we, at times of trouble, I will admit right now, I'm asking prayers for my sister who is in hospital, who's really, really in a very, very precarious situation right now. We just don't know which way it's going to go. And I've asked for prayers from everybody to give her that beautiful divine energy to help her, whether it's crossing over or whether it's healing, but to make sure that she's not in pain and suffering. And we have to understand that's where that faith is. It's in that beautiful divine energy and love. How do we channel it? How do we get out of the dogma of religion? And how do we step into that beautiful divine space of loving faith? Welcome, Christina. Welcome, Charles.
Welcome. I'm glad to be here.
We're going to have fun today for sure. We've already had a few giggles.
Yeah, absolutely.
Now, I hope, please, folks, you go back and listen to my show with Charles, because really we got down with it. We really got into the nitty-gritty, and we had so much fun doing it. He's pure delight and pure faith. You really do practice what you preach. And it's not about the preaching. It's about the inspiring and igniting and inviting. And that's really what love of God is, and that love of God is. So I'd like to start off with both of you. Kind of what is your heart space on faith? And I'm going to throw it over to you, Christina. Faith, what is faith to you?
Just as we were, great introduction, Sara. As always, you started off with a blast. It's like party time now. Party time here.
And yes, different kind of spirit, folks.
It is. It's like playtime, and it can't be, even when the quote unquote crap comes up or hits the fan, and we're in it. We're up to our eyeballs in it. I feel called to speak on, there's a certain area, at least for me, I'm speaking for myself, where the faith comes in and you feel it in the gut. You feel it in the stomach, this rootedness. And we're not just using words for using words. It's just really a feeling, this sense in the stomach that all is well, that we are able to, as a fellow says, lay our head back and relax and trust. So this faith and trust piece, for me, it just resides here in the stomach. I'm kind of putting my hands here so that we're getting away from fear and all of the shadow and all of that, the head stuff. So the faith can reside here in this place where we really feel, honestly, it's like cradled. And we know that as we put out our intention, we're asking it, we're lifting it up, then we can relax and rest in this place. So for me, it's a visceral experience coming back to this resting place. And that, to me, is what I would coin as channeling faith, is just coming right back here and breathing here in this space.
Yeah, in the flow, the flow of it.
What is it for you, Charles?
It is, the life. Faith for me, Christina says it so well. Faith has tended to and let me just back up before I go into it. We talk about meanings. And as a master practitioner in neurolinguistic programming, we can use words, but words are just pointers. They point to what it is we're attempting to express and everything. And there are those things of the spirit that go beyond. Words are never right. Words are never quite enough to express the isness of what we are experiencing in the spirit. And Christina brings out this whole idea of in the gut and feeling it, the feeling center. We actually, as human beings, as spiritual entities, we have three centers of knowledge, three brains, so to speak, three centers of intelligence, and that is the head intelligence, the heart intelligence, and then the feeling intelligence. And that kind of comes out of Gurdjieff's work, G.I. Gurdjieff. And we tend to be, going back to one of my rants with institutionalized religion, we're all up here. It's got to be the scholarship. It's all in the head, and we've got to be able to make sense out of everything. And the reality is there is a sense beyond sense that seems to be nonsense to people that are stuck in their head.
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. So good.
Did I struck?
Yeah.
I struck a nerve.
So good. You totally did.
But that's it. We don't want to get stuck in any one of the centers. We want to have a kind of a flow,
Yes.
a perichoresis, a flow between the heart, the head, and the feeling center. And that is what, for me, faith is all about, finding that balance, finding that blend. And what may work for you is not necessarily going to be the right thing for the next person.
Right.
And this is one of, I think, the downfalls with
Well, yeah, it's cookie, one size fits all.
Yeah,
isn't
right,
it?
right. Yeah, you got to be just like me, and you got to think like me, and feel like me, and act like me, and talk like me. And oh God, how boring will the world become if you're
Yes.
like me.
I have anybody who's listened to my shows know that, you know, for me it's about the knowingness, and you know, the knowingness, as you talk about the gut, Christina, I believe firmly that's where the soul connection is, the gus connection is, that then resonates with the heart in truth, in understanding, that then goes into the spirit of articulation or action, and then the mind will know what it needs to know when it needs to know it. And for me, when I get into that presence, it's breath. It's that deep breath. The whole body, body becomes connected. Oh, sorry, Christine, you might want to bring your mic down just a wee bit. Just bring it down a little bit, because we're catching the breath. We're catching your breath, which is great, which is wonderful. It's great. Breathe it in. You know, that's the thing, is that taking that, and then just all of the chakras, all of the alignment, the soul, heart, and spirit and mind as one, in your state of knowingness and trust and belief in faith of what you need to know, when you need to know, when you know, when, as you need to know it. And but that requires, doesn't, because faith is that big word, trust. Trust. It's giving it up. It's giving it over. It's stepping out and allowing, you know, and trusting. So both of you, how do you see trust being an issue, not only in your own lives, but in your own work and your own teachings of people can't let go, can't trust, you know, because it's a difficult thing to do.
It is. It is when, and part of it is coming to that understanding and the separation between who I think I am and who I really am. You know, the whole idea of the divinity that is within us. We tend to see ourselves as, and particularly in so many of the world religions and faith, God is way up there,
Mm-hmm.
beyond, and I am just this little
Speck.
this creation of God. But we lost, for those who are Christian, we lost the idea that God created. And I'll just make it personal. And I tell people this all the time. I say, make it personal.
Mm-hmm.
God created Charles in his image and likeness. So I'm just like my Heavenly Father.
Mm-hmm.
And if anything, and I'm still a babe because I haven't grown up to the point of understanding how absolutely powerful and amazing I am. If I'm anything like my dad, like Gus.
Yeah.
And see, what I love about Gus is because that's so personal. It's personal, it's intimate, and that's what faith is as well. It's intimate, and it is faith is about coming into that trust of this identity that maybe in this moment is just beyond my grasp, but I yet grasp for this. I'm reaching out to discover through spiritual practices, through breath awareness, through surrender,
Yeah.
through spiritual practices. In the Sufi tradition, the whole idea of die before you die.
Mm-hmm.
And understanding what that means, and that when the transition from this life, and when it comes time to shed the earth suit, as I call our body. You go out in space, you got to have a space suit. Well, on Earth, you got to have an Earth suit, and that's your body. But who you really are is not your body.
It's Gus.
Oh,
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
yes. Athela has pointed to these very same things. It's so important to know that we're in a shell, just like hermit crab walking around with a house.
Mm-hmm.
And then we can
Yep,
easily crawl out of that, and we take up another house or another
Yes.
shell, and on we go.
Yeah.
It's delightful. And then we get, I couldn't agree more. We get so enmeshed in the head. So there's literally, I could see it on people. There's head energy that happens almost continuously, cyclical, ruminating, round and round we go. And it happens all the time. Sometimes there's a lot of numbers going on in there, inner dialogue, whatever. I just think there's a lot of opportunity here. We notice this, and we can step away and begin to cultivate our spiritual practice. As they say, die before you die. So all of this boils down to how much human time are you willing to put into your meditations, to your prayer every day, so that you feel this oneness, this isness that is not the body, it's not the head. It does require, there is a bit of that discipline, which I know a lot of people, you hear that word immediately, something gets fired and triggered in there.
Yes.
Discipline has to come in. We have to be willing to sit, which can be pretty darn uncomfortable, excruciating if you're dealing with things. Most people, they don't sit until they're in a big way and they know it, and it's like go time, and they have to do something, or they've been brought to their knees, and then they're willing to do the inner exploration. But if we can go there, teach our children the meditation, the quiet space where we can feel our being every day, and we can waft in that, then we become a lot more intimate. Charles, you're just amazing with these words, intimacy with our true self, which is not the same as the ego self. Ego would love to tell you that it knows everything and the solutions, and let's go and problem solve. We're going to think our way through this or whatever. Right. And then we step away from that, and it just takes, I think it takes a little bit of momentum for people in their meditation, in their, some people call it meditation, other people call it, channeling or whatever you want to call that, but that your unity practice, it takes a little bit of momentum for you to get away from that activity of the head, nonstop. And then we can feel and be in our beingness. What a holy, great way to live. And what a simple, really simple practice that we can just embody. And with you, Sara, you were saying the breath. So coming back to the breath.
Well, that's, I think it's tuning in, isn't it? It's
simple. Yeah.
Breath is something that helps quieten you down because, for me especially, it really is going up into Gus, into the silence, into the nothingness, which is everythingness.
Right.
And
exactly.
it is such a beautiful experience where there is all, there is nothing, it is, and it's encompassing and it's freeing, it's everything contradictory, but it is pure. And it's at that place of silence, of stillness. And so, whether somebody is cross-legged, for me, if I got cross-legged, you wouldn't get me back up again, it would need a crane. But, it's finding your space where you find your stillness, where you find that, where you can turn your knob into that beautiful attunement into Gus, into that beautiful space where you now are channeling because you've opened up. You've opened up and all that chatter in your head starts quietening down. You start feeling and everything that you need to resolve will never resolve in thought first. You have to feel to understand what the thoughts are. If we think it, that's the head, the ego. If we feel the divine knowledge, then we actually understand what it is. That what the thoughts need to be, but we have to get out of thought to get into that space where we can actually find those answers. And of course, if people, let's talk at stress, you want me to pray, you want me to have faith. How can I have faith? I'm so angry at the world, I'm so anxious, where's my next bill, I've got another bill, and people are in that state of anxiousness, and this makes them question faith. Right? Because of the anxiety, because of what's going on. How do people step outside of that to get them into a space of meditation, of quietness, of connection? Charles, how do you do
it? This is where so many of the people that I work with, we talk about this whole idea of, and I tell folks, okay, the world as you are experiencing it is your own creation because you're the one that is making the meaning frames. Now, I'm not trying to re-victimize you. I'm not trying to blame you or anything. I just need you to step up a level here in your awareness because it is the meaning frames that you're making here.
Yeah.
What happens is not the issue, it's how you tend to frame it, how the meaning that you give to it, and that is born out of our values and beliefs. It's not the things that we know, it's not the things that we don't know, rather, as much as it is the things that we know that ain't so. For example, we say that I believe this, I believe that I am worthy, that I am strong and capable and competent. Well, liar, liar, pants on fire. No, you don't. Because I look at how you are acting and I look at how you hold back and everything. That's a sign that you really don't have the level of confidence and belief in yourself that you would like to. So in NLP, you have the as if frame. Part of what I like to do and part of what victorious living is all about is coming to the point of understanding what is it that I really do believe? What are my values? What is it that I really, truly want? And then what is it going to take? Who do I have to become in order to live that life? Because you're not going to, wherever you go, there you are.
Yes.
So you're not going to take, if you want to go to that place of bliss, if you want to go to that place of Satchitananda, you ain't going to get there in that current frame of mind. No. You're going to have to
You're in the wrong vehicle, mate.
Unload some of that baggage.
Exactly.
We can resculpt our brains.
Absolutely.
We can literally, the neuroplasticity can be surgically inside. We can do it to us.
Yes.
We do it to us as we change. And
Yes.
NLP being a fantastic, I've tried NLP, I've done it before, used it in my own life and with other people. It's amazing. EMDR, some of these, we have the tools now. We're now evolved. I mean, there's now really very little excuse for us to say, well, I can't do. Yes, you can. The tools are out there. Even on the internet, we can go and research and we can see how the brain can literally, the stickiness can be rerouted so that you can change into this new vibration. And with your thoughts, it's just like, repetition. I mean, good old fashioned repetition and replacing the frames, continuously replacing, retraining the brain is like is the boot camp of the millennium. It's really a fantastic, it's a savior to ourselves. We can do it. And there's so much science back behind it. It's really cool to see the science.
Absolutely.
Mine doesn't know if we've been there or not. Like,
Yeah,
right?
it's a reprogramming, isn't it? It's a
Mine doesn't know if you're eating an ice. I mean, if you imagine, you close your eyes, you're eating an ice cream, or let's do something else. Let's do this. We slice the lemon, and we take the lemon, we put it up to and we start to lick it, and I mean, I bet most of you are feeling this already. You can feel that, taste that sour. Yeah. That's because we open our eyes. Well, here we are. Well, no, we just went to the lemon. Your mind body is there with the lemon. Isn't that cool?
Right. And even to the extent of years ago when I was shot, it can be so powerful in a traumatic experience.
Yes.
After I recovered and everything, whenever I heard a gun, I hear a gunshot, I would taste blood in my mouth because I was shot in the mouth.
Wow.
Okay.
How did you survive that?
Gus.
Yes.
So,
yes. Hallelujah. Yes.
And see, that's kind of where it was really impressed on me. I was here on a mission and nothing was going to get in the way of that mission. So, but the whole idea is we produce the neurochemicals in our brain to bring us back to that exact same state. Now, as Christine was pointing out, we have the capability of determining what it is that we desire, and then producing those thought feelings, because thinking, feeling are not two different things. They're the same thing. With every thought, there is a feeling. For every feeling, there is a thought. So when we start to take control of that power zone, this is one of the ways that we channel our faith. We even if you look at it from a Christian standpoint, Paul said, be transformed, and the Greek word there is metamorphosis from. So what is that saying? That's saying be metamorphosed. In other words, you go from being one type of a creature into a completely different creature. The caterpillar is no longer a caterpillar after it comes out of the cocoon. It is the butterfly. So we need to, if you're a caterpillar, you don't have to stay a caterpillar. Go in the cocoon, go into your prayer closet, get on your meditation mat and rise up the butterfly in a whole new way of life and living. Be transformed by the renewing of your mind. Anyone who is in Christ, again, another scripture, anyone who is in Christ, who has stepped into that Christ awareness, that Christ consciousness, they are a new creation. Old things have passed away. Behold, all things become new. These are the deeper, more esoteric, mystical parts of Christianity that get just blown past and not really explored and grasped and appreciated. But it's all right there, and all this other gobbledygook that we do, and everybody's got to be like me, and the cookie cutter thing, it is what we have. But see, that's part of levels of consciousness, though, because we're still very much tribal, mythic. We haven't risen to the pluralistic and the integral level of consciousness yet. So there are people that are still in some of those lower
I
levels.
think
That's
they're
why
still very much in
even when
victim mode.
Yes.
You know, it's
something
still
happened, yeah, and
because
that's where they get their joy. That's where I get attention because I'm on the victim.
yeah.
Right.
Yeah, so you feel sorry for me, and I
Oh,
can get a
ego
hug.
loves that. That's a
But
love affair for ego. I mean,
Yes.
that's a great.
exactly,
That's
exactly.
great. Ego will do that for a lifetime. That's a lot of fun for ego to do all those
Yeah,
storytelling. The victim one being one is like a great
yeah,
one. And
yeah.
you're right. People are very much still is very. I think we call it third dimensional. We could call that, but
Yeah.
the reptilian ways and all of these kind of.
Yes. And I'm not picking on these folks. And I mean, it's just a matter of, please, we need to wake up and know
Yes.
that there is a power that we can step out of that, you
Yes. Get
know.
out of your
I'm,
caterpillar, you know. It's
exactly.
but it's
Yeah.
also what you're doing by staying in that victimized mode is staying in that crippling area
Yeah.
of non-growth,
Right.
of non-faith, of you know, non-belief in anything, just
Right.
in the
Right.
wound, you know,
Right.
festering in that wound.
Right.
You're actually giving people the power over you. Because
Exactly.
Yes.
so you are not taking your own empowerment, you're not making your own decisions. Everything that happens to you now is an invitation that you're sending out because you're powerless. You've made
Yes.
yourself that way by
Yes.
choosing not to rise up, and you're
Yes.
giving the power over to other people who are only too happy to take it. And I'm sorry, folks, in a lot of ways, church is like that,
Yeah.
because if they keep you that downward victim and only God can save you on Sunday,
Yeah.
you know, then people stay in that frame of mind instead of God is your empowerment to
Yeah.
rise up,
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
shine, to spread your wings. You know, it's
I
the
don't.
same.
I don't want to set you free. I want to. Now I have you, Mike.
Yes, exactly. Your collection every week. I need it.
And you know, I was just talking. I was just talking to some people here about. They're talking about coming to my church this Sunday, and they were talking about where they were. They were gone for 13 weeks dealing with things, and no one ever called them.
Mm,
And when they did finally get a call, it was, you haven't given your offerings yet. And I said, see, there you
yeah,
have it, you know.
right.
Well, we lose the human part. First
Yes,
question is, are you okay? We haven't seen you in a while, you
right.
know.
Yes.
Right,
But
exactly. Yeah, but that's
yeah.
where I think when you know you talked about being a human being, and you
Mm,
know, we have lost our humanity
yeah.
because it's become all about e-commerce. You know,
Yes.
sense. And yes, okay, money has its place. It's
Yes.
a negotiation.
Yes.
You know, we've done shows on this, haven't we, Christina,
Yeah.
on money and the relationship with money. But I think the biggest relationship with money that people have is this feeling that I am only worth dollars and cents,
Mm,
and that we don't look to the abundance and the enrichment of a person and their soul, their heart, their spirit,
mm,
and
mm.
that loving Gus e-commerce that they share with us.
Yeah.
And if we really truly look at that and step into that faith of what a human being can be,
Yeah.
once they spread those wings, you know, so a saying came to me the other day. I'm going to do a show on it next week because it keeps nagging at me to do so. Is that, you know, in our journey of life, we spread our wings, we discover
Yeah.
our wings, but it's the people around us that is the wind beneath those wings.
Ah, yes.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's
Yeah.
having those right people that aren't going to flatten those wings, but are going to be that wind to lift it up. But you've got to discover your wings,
Right.
right?
Right. And
Step
as
out of it. Take the
there,
faith.
there are people that I will lift up, and then they
Mm,
turn around. It's a reciprocal
yes.
thing.
Yes.
We lift each other up, and we all rise, and we all contribute, and we all have our particular uniqueness to bring to
Yes.
this amazing world. Eye hasn't seen, nor ear heard, nor has it entered into the hearts of humanity the things that Gus has prepared for all of us. Hallelujah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Hallelujah.
So beautiful.
You know, I mean, Christina found her
Yep.
way, or let's say a fella found her way to Christina and chose Christina to be her wings, and became the wind beneath her wings to set their voices free, which in turn now sets others free by unlocking their door, letting them come out, discover their own voice. And it's a very beautiful experience when this big word, we allow, something to happen to us. And this, if we get out ahead of, I need to understand, why is this happening? Who is doing this to me? And it's like, get out of the head and again, go back to the gut, the heart and the spirit, and trust that whatever transition, metamorphosis that you're in right now, you may not understand it, it will be revealed.
Yes.
But just take that leap of faith, step off the cliff, blind, deaf and dumb, in order to see, hear and feel. And you know, you've done it, Christina, I've done it, and in a way that's the only way we can do it, isn't it?
Yes.
Christina, please share that experience with the audience.
It is I, Athela.
We have
I
Athela.
will scoop up this conversation with a high frequency and ultra dimension. From my perspective, you humans, you fess and flutter and become flustered, and you live predominantly in the brain, believing that you are the thoughts, believing that every thought is oh so important and requires your urgent attention. Thinking is an activity, and you are able to come away from the activity into the being. You are made up of the same materials as stars, the sun, and all the elements. You can commune and become one when you are in nature. We have made it easy for you. You live on a planet where there is greenery abundant. There are oceans abundant. You can look into the eyes of a child. You can be with an animal and sit. Observe these beings. And in nature, there is no suffering because there is no story of suffering. Spend time, human clock time, each day, remembering who it is that you are. You have mistakenly believed these thoughts. Is it not true? Most of the thoughts are negative in nature and are hurtful. You are hurting yourselves. The thoughts are also unnecessary. You can take a break, a mental vacation for you every day. There is no one stopping you, and there is no blame. The embodiment of the soul, who named herself Louise Hay, is here with me now and says this is true. You need to stop scaring yourselves. Refuse to scare yourself. When fear thoughts come to mind, have an image to replace these thoughts. Be it a fond image, something you love, a place you would like to go to, or a dolphin teacher. Have an image at the ready, reminding you beauty. Beauty is but one breath away. You are connected to all that is. There is no separation. You come in between yourself too often. And then you are a slave to the mind. Let us end this bondage. It is happening all over. Awakened beings now are opening themselves up as conduits. You see these channelings, they are creeping up from everywhere. Everyone understands this. It is now the time, the shift. Help your fellow brothers and sisters by redirecting them back to themselves, lifting them up in the vibrational frequency that you uphold. You can expect that others will feel it. Be responsible for your own energy field. I love you all, humans. I was never a human, but I'm understanding quickly their ways. I understand the suffering. I have compassion for you. Love, love, which passes all understanding, is the canticle of praise. There are many here trumpeting and cheerleading for you. You humans, you can do it. We are for you. Life is for you. Let go of the idea that there are oppositional forces against you. you can let go, rest, relax. You are protected. And for those who need to hear this, at the transition point, there is an exit. It is like getting out of the suit. And in this moment, you perceive light. There is nothing wrong with this transition. It is normal, and you have done it before. You are safe.
It's beautiful from Othello. You never know when she's going to come through, but when she does, it's always with divine wisdom. A lot of messages there, an awful lot of messages. Thank you, Christina and Othello.
Thank you. Thank you.
She was quite rapid fire today, actually. And gosh, which thread do we pick there? Christina, as you were saying it, there's so much that she said. What's something that resonated there that you would like to elaborate on?
Well, I have a one-way track. When it comes through, I don't hold anything to me.
Right.
It's kind of blank screen time for me. I go into this lovely holding room.
Yes.
Right, and I get to just chill and flow with that. Something that speaks to me, though, is this sensation when we are tuned in, what we could call tuned in zone. If you're an athlete, you're going to find yourself in that runner's high or whatever that is. Don't we notice that we feel closer, connected to God, to Source in those moments?
Yeah.
And we're actually thinking less, and whatever comes out of that, it just seems true. It's like the thought is
pure.
The idea, exactly.
Yeah.
I just noticed that then, and when we tune in, when we tap into that, which we can do at any moment, there's no force, there's no strain, or
right.
It's really pure, it feels good. And my feeling here is just to express how grateful I am that as human beings we can do that. We are divine, superior, supreme beings that we can channel this. It's available.
Yes.
Charles, what did you get out of that?
But that again, it comes back to the whole thing of love. And I earlier today, in talking to another person, was talking about how Jesus's message, what we tend to do in church is so much different. I'm in an ongoing series of what did Jesus actually teach, not Paul, not the others, but what did Jesus teach? And he taught basically two things out of a state of this third. And the two things were love and forgiveness. That's what he taught. And he taught it out of a state of metanoia, which in the church is translated repentance, which does not mean, it's come to mean, I'm going to go over here in the corner and suck my thumb and feel real bad for all the terrible things that I've done. And that's not what metanoia means. It's a Greek word that means meta, being beyond, larger, expanded, and noia is thinking. So essentially, Jesus, so we could say out of a higher level of thinking, a higher level of consciousness, a higher level of awareness. So Jesus taught love and forgiveness from a higher level of consciousness, and he's invited us to live a life of love, forgiving ourselves and loving our neighbors as we love ourselves. And that doesn't mean loving our neighbor as much as I love myself. That means loving my neighbor is me. Sarah, you're Sarah, you're me. Christina, you're me. I'm you. We are all, you know, in the words of the immortal prophets, the Beatles, I am you as you are me, as you are me, and we are all together, goo, goo, goo,
Come
goo, you know?
together right
Yeah, you
now.
know.
Oh, exactly.
So good.
So, and I don't apologize for my goofiness. I am
Not at
into it.
all.
I love it.
I celebrate
Such a
it.
big kid, such a goofy kid. I think that's great. You've just eclipsed on it. This is really key too, is the love that you're speaking of and the forgiveness of self, and
Yeah.
that we're all we literally no corniness involved, but we're all connected, that we're all
Mhm.
Yes.
connected. Truly,
Yeah.
we are.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, we're all is.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. Exactly.
We're all, it's you know, I say if we can see each other from the inside out,
Yeah.
forget about the exterior. This is why I say in order to see, go blind, deaf, and dumb.
Yeah.
Because we see and feel and trust in a different way. We get so blinded by our eyes
Yes.
and what we hear and what we say, is so misconstrued because we're not really comprehending what really the message is.
And
And if we
Sarah, it's what we think we see.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Because that's the thing. Our thoughts are governing what we've just seen. This is why
Mm.
we say, oh, it's unbelievable. I
Yeah.
couldn't believe that because we think the limitations,
Yeah.
right? But
Yeah.
when we actually choose to see our thoughts in expansion of possibilities, I'm a possibility person. Anything is possible.
Yeah.
Anything is possible. And it's
Yeah.
for me to open up that arena to what is possible. And what will be given to me is what I can comprehend at that particular level. And the more you're willing to open up and comprehend and not try and analyze, but just embrace, the more understanding you will get from those beautiful layers and those wonderful things opening up. We've got to get out of this dictations of how things should be, or what did you mean by that? Into kind of speaking from the inside out,
Yeah.
because that's where the love, the forgiveness, the is, the we, the are, everything is, right? Not the external voice.
I mean, we strip everything away.
Yeah.
And we'll get stripped down to the very essence of ourselves, no matter what. We strip it all away while we're still in the vehicle. What is left? What?
Yeah.
Well, now you gotta hold on to reality. I mean, you gotta maintain yourself here. This is the real world,
I prefer the Twilight Zone. You can take
thank you.
Let's go out there and be space cadets for a while. Let's do it.
What would we dare to create in the imaginal realm and bring into manifestation in the world? It's like, dare. I'm just an audacious son of a gun.
That's why we love you.
Okay. Well.
But it's I would be talking to people sometimes and I'll kind of forget because I'm in a groove and I'm talking about past lives and remembering this and out in the universe and traveling, and all of a sudden it's and they consider themselves a very spiritual person and I think I can go there, and all of a sudden you've got this glazed look on their face as they're staring at you going, who is this creature? Where are the white coats? Coming to take me away. And it's like I get carried away because I'm off on my journey. I'm tripping, and it's I mean, people took drugs for that. I don't need them. I'm already there.
Yeah.
But that's something else. Where we don't got to stop being worried about other people think, though, don't we? Just who cares? Be true to yourself.
Who cares?
Yeah.
And
that's
Chelsea,
it.
Oh yes, we all have
that's. Yeah, but the whole idea of just be who you are and not again, nothing to lose, nothing to hide, nothing to fear, nothing to prove. This is me. And I'll tell people, I said, you know what, I need to go bye-bye. And people that know me know that I'm going off. I need to go and meditate,
Right.
And I go places I couldn't even tell you where but just I go places. Sometimes I particularly my favorite place is just that place of dark, velvety darkness. It's just peaceful. It's just,
Yes.
I just lay there and
It's like
just
a heart.
empty, when thoughts arise, I just release them, let them go, and just stay in that place of ultimately knowing all things in peace and in equanimity. Another thing that came out too was this whole thing. I think it was D.H. Lawrence. He said, "I never saw a wild thing sorry for itself." A bird will fall dead, frozen from a bough, without ever having felt sorry for itself. So, yeah, that, I mean, think about that. I look in the eyes of dogs. One of my friends had to put their dog down, and uh, he was just looking, they were just looking at each other, and it was almost like the dog was saying to him, "It's okay, man. I
Yes.
love you, and I'm going."
Mm.
So yeah, there's so much that we can just learn from nature and what is real.
And what is real.
Yeah.
We should do a follow-up show, I think, because what you just touched on, first of all, I've scarcely heard anyone who knows that poem by memory. And that poem really does say a lot about our human suffering condition and what we put ourselves through.
Yeah.
Like violence of the self.
Yeah.
Violence to the self. When really the
Yeah.
dog laying at
Yeah.
the table, because I'd
Yeah.
worked in veterinary settings before and seen a ton of animals euthanized for different reasons. And then working with children in children's hospital setting, and then working in elderly homes, and through hospice, you see people in these different stages, right? And then the animals, though, it's a complete opening, and there is no script, there's no suffering there. It's just a knowing, it's a witness, and there's light.
It's the end of their thing. It's not, why me?
Yeah.
I need longer here. It's like,
Then
it's
we
my
can
time.
actually-
Bye-bye.
Yeah.
We can make our exit way in true peace, like not
Yes.
peace, that conditional peace,
Yes.
but real peace.
Yeah.
That's absolutely possible.
Yeah.
But, there's also this thing too that when it is your time will come no matter what.
Oh, yeah. You think?
But there are those times, like with you. I mean, you got shot. Was that your time? No, clearly it wasn't, and you were still here to fight for your life because you had more purpose to give.
Yeah.
And we all have that crossroads in life. I know the tumultuous things that you've been through when you had the gun to your head, and numerous other things you went through, Christina. That is, is it time to go? Do I just make my exit, or do I fight for life at this moment?
Right.
And you get to a point where there's a bit of fighting for life because you need to find your peace before you go.
That's
right. And so, and your peace is in your purpose.
Yeah.
Right. And when you find your peaceful purpose, that beautiful blanket of black velvet, when people say, come out of the dark, you don't want to be in the dark. I love going into the dark because it's a different darkness. The darkness that I'm there, I'm the light in the dark. I don't need to see the light. I am the light. When I used to be in the darkness of hell, I was looking for light. When I became the light, I'm no longer in darkness afraid, right? I love the darkness.
So good.
Hallelujah. I think we're having church. Wow. No, that's it. That's awesome. What Jesus said to his disciples, and we still don't get it in the church. Jesus said to his followers, you are the light of the world. You are the salt of the earth.
Mm-hmm.
And we go around, picking our noses like, oh, yeah. It's like, no, did you hear what he said?
Wow.
So for me, the question is then, okay, what does that mean?
Mm-hmm.
How do I live into that?
Yes.
And again, notice, live in to that identity, because that certainly is not who I thought I was.
Right. No.
But if this master, teacher, Son of God, and he tells me, all the things that you've seen me do, Charles, you're going to do those same things and even greater works than these, because I'm going to the Father. I'm passing the family business on to you.
Yes. Here's the baton.
Yeah. It's like, hey, hello, people. You know what? Hello.
Yeah.
Anybody there?
But I'm sorry. This is the way I visit. My messages are pretty much this. I don't preach. We just talk. We
No, it's
visit.
the channeling.
Well, that's
It's
yeah,
channeling light.
exactly.
I have a statement too that's coming through really strong through Othello, is the Christ consciousness light floods my eyeballs.
Mhm,
Like,
mhm.
because the vision and your frequency, everything gets tuned in, linked in, actually fused with the
Yes.
Christ consciousness. And then what comes from there is absolutely pure. It's of Christ. It's of this oneness, you call it universe.
Mhm.
I mean, the names and the labels, it's like we could just do away with those, and we could just absolutely come center to what this is. It is like a big hello. It's like,
Yeah.
what is it going to take for you guys to know your awesomeness, to really live, to lean forward and lean into this experience? We've got everything that we need within to do anything that we want to do.
And
I think a lot of people do walk around picking their noses. I certainly did for like 15
Yeah.
years.
Yes.
Oh,
It's like,
Yes.
ew,
You know,
that's so
chasing our tails.
nasty.
yeah.
Ew. Oh boy.
Scratching your butt and your hair.
Oh God. Oh no, she didn't. But well, and that's me. If I can't have fun, I don't want to play.
That's
But
But
that's something so
the whole
important.
thing.
The joy of
important.
life. That's what life is about. I just interviewed
Yep.
Mamika, who a successful businesswoman, and then it was suddenly all that success, all the world started crumbling around her, and it's like
Yeah.
I've lost my Christ within me. I've lost my direction. I've lost my meaning. And then it was how to get back into the living of joy, right? And
Yeah.
something else,
Yeah.
like life, it's a joyful network. It's about stepping into joy.
Yeah.
You know, that's if we have to understand that joy is an uplifting vibration that resonates out in a beautiful song that envelops and wraps its arms around people, lifting them up.
Yeah.
You know, God isn't about penance.
No,
You know, it is about love and laughter and joy and exuberance.
Yes.
Let us step into that more.
Yes.
It's way more fun.
It is, and we see that in the story that Jesus told of the prodigal son. It wasn't about you went out there and spent all my money and you did this and you. No, he just saw his son coming, and he says. And he ran off the porch. And if you know anything about the culture, that the father would run off the porch and greet his nasty, stinking son who's been out feeding swine. But he hugged him, kissed him, told his servants to bring the robe and put on him. Didn't say go and scrub him up and wash all this filth and defilement off of him. He said just put the robe on him, put sandals on his feet, put the signet ring on his hand. My son that was dead in his own consciousness is alive again. He came to himself.
Mm-hmm.
He woke up to who he truly was and stepped into that identity. And so it wasn't about all this other stuff that we have layered in. And see, the problem is in the big argument between Pelagius and Augustine, Pelagius lost, and Augustine was the one that had the idea of the ultimate depravity of humanity and everything. And Pelagius lost that argument. He said, no, it's not. We are not totally deprived and depraved.
And we're not.
So it's, you know, truly it is to the victor go the spoils, but no, we're not. We're not. And here again, suffering is a choice. Somebody says, I lost my light. I lost my, and my question is, how did you give that away? Because you can't lose that.
No, you
What
can't.
happened? And let's go back and retrace and see how you gave that away or how you relinquished it, because that's something that you cannot lose. That's part of who you really truly are. How have your eyes been blinded? How did that happen that you lost? Yeah, I preached a series of sermons. I called it identity theft. I said, you know, we've lost our identity. We've allowed a lot of things, including religion, to rob us of our true divine identity. As
that's the next show, isn't it, Christina?
I think it is. Absolutely.
Yes. No. No, this is getting
Absolutely.
part 2 of this. This is stepping into our own identity and
Yes.
actually finding it first,
Yeah,
because
yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
people willy-nilly give it away because they don't know what they're giving away. If you
Right.
truly
Yeah, right.
understood who you were,
Right.
what you're giving away of yourself when you're in your own presence is not giving away; it's sharing you.
Right,
Yes.
right,
Right?
Right.
When you are
Yeah.
giving yourself away means that you don't really think there's anything there. Somebody else can have it.
Right.
But when you step into your beautiful abundance and you're sharing it,
Yeah. That's
now
different.
you are giving off
Yeah.
that love. You're giving off your presence,
Yes.
right? That's what we want
Absolutely.
people to get to. So
Yes.
let's do a show on that.
Let's
Finding
do
your
a show on that.
identity.
And
Yeah.
that is natural.
Mhm.
That is the natural way
Yes.
where we expand to discover our expansiveness, to discover how Sara, you are a world changer. Christina, you are a world changer. And I know I have accepted I am a world changer. When I look at some of the testimonials of people, and how I have affected their lives,
Yeah.
and like I tell them, it's really, it's me, but it's not me. It's greater. It's
Yes.
greater one. It's Gus living through me.
That's right.
I'm just a channel
Yes.
of his light, his love.
Exactly.
Hence channeling ascensions.
Exactly. I
We're
mean, what
channeling-
you just said too, Charles, is truth through the words. It's like pouring out of you through the heart center is so true. And for people to recognize there's a lot of integrity in leadership, right? We're in these leadership positions. There's a lot of integrity that's needed so that people don't confuse the light for something external that is needed for their own evolution, for their own metamorphosis, but that it's that we're open as channels for this light. And then we're just redirecting it, as Othello says,
Yes.
back to oneself so that the self recognizes consciousness.
Yes.
Literally that. And
Yes.
that's what saves you. I had a client the other day, and I'm sure all of us have experienced this. Oh, you saved my life. This saved no, you saved you.
Yes.
Thank
You're just
goodness.
the torch. You just shed the light on them.
Yes.
And through that light, through that channeling of the light, you showed them who they were.
Yes.
And they embraced who
That's
they
it.
were, and they embraced their life.
And
right?
they did
That's
it.
what
It's
we're there.
really cool when that happens, and then you are the witness to that, the channel for that.
Yeah.
And then it just
That's
becomes
it.
this greater purpose serving. How can I serve and staying, ourselves, taking really good care of the self, and making sure that we share all of this with everyone, irrespective
Yes.
of whoever they are or wherever
Right.
they've come from or whatever they've perceived to be have done in their life.
Right.
Doesn't matter at all. I believe the
Right.
integrity, though, piece is also another piece of our next show. Should be the integrity as we look at identity, and these leadership, these people coming out of the woodwork at the forefront, and then having the integrity to say, no, actually, you're doing it to you. This is your light. You're fusing with yourself. And then learning about who we truly are, the identity. There's still a lot of people out there who believe that they're their money, their car, their house, their role, whatever that is.
Yeah.
And you've got a lot of people still preaching that. And I think you have to ask yourself this. If this person you're looking up to needs the light shone on them, they're not the right person. When the light comes from them, then they're the person that can shed the light on you.
That's so true, Sara. Wow.
Yeah. That's good.
This has been so much fun.
Yes, and definitely, folks, there's round 2 coming up in a couple of weeks because we have a couple of other shows coming up in between. But Charles, you're coming back. We're going to talk about identity.
Yes.
And, it's a huge one, identity.
I
Because
am.
lose their way. You're coming back, baby. Don't think you can get off that lightly.
And we praise the angels. Charles, you are a godsend. I can say that unequivocally. It's like praising the angels and praising the beings of light around us for bringing us together in this synergistic time to play and to share joy, because it does. It sheds light. It's infectious. It goes everywhere. People listen to it.
Yeah.
And
well, I knew as soon as I did the show with Charles last time, we had so much fun. I was so uplifted. I got to you and I said, "This is one for channeling essentials." Definitely. So I know that, Christina, you've got to go because you've got somebody needing your beautiful light at the present moment. So let's go around how everybody can get hold of everyone. And I promise you, we'll be back in a few weeks with Charles again on the identity of self. And so, Christina, how about you tell everybody how to get hold of you, and then you, Charles?
Of course. Thank you. And thank you both again. I'm just really humbled. A lot of humility coming through, working through my veins right now. Everyone can reach me and Athela at athela.org. We're a philanthropic organization. We're giving to these organizations in Africa, helping the world really to get access to and have clean water for all beings, starting in Africa. So please join us at athela.org. We have retreats and, of course, online sessions, and we have free materials, lots of free goodies, and that's spelled ATHELLA.org.
Excellent. And of course, you can find her here on Self-Discovery Radio with the Channeling Essentials and all the wonderful shows we've done. Love, forgiveness, money, you name it, we've covered it, or we're covering it. Charles, how do people get hold of you and be a part of your victorious system, the victorious living system?
Living system, yes. That's it, victoriousliving.com. And if you just, that's my website, and then my name, Charles Eduardos. I'm on Facebook, I'm on LinkedIn. I think it's Charles Eduardos CHT on Facebook for the fan page. And I'm easy to find. If you Google me, all my stuff will come up. Just put in my name, Charles Eduardos. You'll find multiple ways to get a hold of me. And looks like anytime you want to get a hold of me, find Sara and Christina, and they'll have me on a short leash. So
we've
you're
got
not
you
smiling.
in our web now. We're not going to let you go.
You're in our web.
Well, and I said it's a good thing I don't live closer, because I'd be over at Sara's house all the time.
Oh,
yes,
I bet.
no, I have to make a trip over there. I've got to put my arms around you, Charles, and give you a hug. You are just,
totally.
one of those beautiful beings
Yes.
that I totally resonate and connect with. And please, folks, go back and listen to our other show. You'll find it here on the page, or just simply put his name in under selfdiscoveryradio.com and the search engine, put his name. You'll see both shows and future shows coming up. And you'll see why we had so much fun, but also how much we covered. And, let us be your light. Let us be your light, and understand you are the light. We want to switch you on. We want your beam to shine.
Yes.
Okay, because the world needs you, you need you, everybody around you needs you, and the more light that's there, less fear there is of the dark. And also we've really realized we're sweating the small stuff. Let's lighten up, folks. Let's step into some joy. Let's enjoy life, and in that beautiful resonance, we then start becoming the solution to each other. So, Christina and Charles, mwah, mwah, thank you so much. This has been wonderful.
Love. I feel lit up like a Christmas tree on the inside.
Yes. I'm a neon light shining bright.
Boom.
I enjoyed you both.
This has been electric.
Great.
Thank you so much, Charles. Thank you, Sarah. I really am filled with joy, and it's such an honor to be with both of you today. Thank you.
Wonderful.
Thank you.
And it will come up in a couple of weeks, folks, where you'll be seeing us talking about that connection to self and how to let your light out, really, identity, how to let your light out. Come back for that one, because I know it's going to be enlightening, insightful, and above all, fun.
Very cool.
Until next time, folks, bye for now.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
For more wonderful shows like this, please go to selfdiscoveryradio.com, podcasts, and see our lineup. And if you wish to support us, we have a funded button. Please stay tuned for our next show.